I forgot to mention that there was actually on, was it Friday night? I was here, middle of the night, live streaming the great debate in WA. If we can bring this
I couldn't be there because I was already on my plane flight over here.
Right, yeah. So this was a last-minute event. I was sort of like, Graham's said, Joel, we're doing this event in WA, Senator Malcolm Roberts and a few others are going to be there. We're basically prosecuting the case against the Premier that the event... with during COVID, the things that went wrong, what's actually in the jabs and all that sort of thing. Did you get a chance to catch any? Obviously, it was a very long stream. It was about four almost 5 hours stream. But did you catch any clips after the fact?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. I was invited to attend, but I've been in Sydney for the National Life Summit, and so I haven't caught any of that. But on that general topic, I can say this, Joel, that we've just had in this final week of Parliament, of course, then the final opportunity to ask questions. And one of the questions that I've asked is of the Premier, Rodger Cook, because, again, something that mainstream media don't talk about, they don't share information. More than just over 2 years ago, November 2022, there was the end of the so-called state of emergency declarations in Western Australia. Now, we probably don't have time to go into all the ins and outs of that. So suffice to say, Joel, that the state of emergency declarations in Western Australia were being redeclared every 14 days. And in the end, it was being done blindly. And why I say that is because I had asked the questions of the Emergency Minister, the Minister for Emergency Services, and said, have you ever read the health advice that you guys keep saying justifies the continuation of these state of emergency declarations? And in Parliament, because you can't lie under oath in Parliament, he said no. He had never once read the health advice. So we had a farcical situation in Western Australia where the Emergency Minister keeps declaring these state of emergencies despite the fact he's not reading the health advice. And then we had the Premier and the Deputy Premier going to Italy, across the globe to encourage people to come to Australia for tourism purposes. And I said, we either got an emergency or we don't. Now, if we're in a state of emergency, you're not encouraging tourists to come into Australia, into Western Australia. So obviously, this is a complete farce. The state of emergency declarations then stopped because the political pressure was too great. But what they did with sleight of hand is they then shifted those emergency powers in Western Australia from a ministerial level to the Police Commissioner. They handed over for 2 years a blank cheque to the Police Commissioner to be able to invoke these emergency powers whenever he wanted. We managed to get a sunset clause built into that outrageous piece of legislation.
Yeah.
And so this week I asked the Premier about that because the beginning of November, these special emergency powers for the Police Commissioner ended. They expired.
Right.
And I asked the Premier, will you give an unequivocal commitment that you won't reintroduce this legislation? Well, he wouldn't. He said he wouldn't entertain hypotheticals. I mean, Joel, how can that be a hypothetical? He has brought in this legislation 2 years ago. It's been in place. It's not a hypothetical. Yeah. It's now expired. Are you intending, after the election or any time soon, to reintroduce it? Just answer the question. He wouldn't answer that question. It's completely outrageous, but very typical, and I don't want Western Australians to forget that.
We've got to post these videos.
Yeah.
I've got to get that video. I will find it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it to you. And I mean, I also asked him in that same question, will you commit then, if you are going to have emergency declarations into the future? Because I'm one, Joel, and maybe I'm now going to say something that some of your viewers will want to smash the screen over. I don't have a problem with governments of the day having emergency powers, but it's a big but. It needs to be rare, and it needs to be in justified circumstances. If there's a cyclone, there's a flood, there's a fire, I don't have a problem with the government using emergency powers for a limited period of time. It needs to be rare. It needs to be overtly justified, and any time that it's used, it needs to be counterbalanced with additional oversight. And the best people to do that are Parliament. And none of that happened, of course, in this farcical situation that we know about. And, of course, I asked him about that. So will you commit to it being rare? Will you commit to cooperating with Parliament? I won't entertain hypotheticals, he says. Such is the arrogance of the Premier of Western Australia. And Western Australians need to know about it. And I would say other people around Australia need to be very mindful about what their premiers are going to do.
Well, look, I mean, things can change very quickly. We saw a situation not so long ago that there was Liberal Party was wiped out around the country, except in Tasmania. And, I was told at the time, someone said to me, Joel, don't be under any illusions how quickly it can flip. It tends to flip quite quickly. And we saw the Northern Territory flip. It's a Liberal majority now.
Yep.
We've seen a Liberal majority in Queensland as well. I think it could have been bigger if they ran on a bit more conservative message. I mean, the place voted 70% no. I reckon they should have been a complete wipeout, like a super majority. But they did get a majority just. And yeah, I mean, WA's up next.
Yep.
Federal's not long after that, most likely. And so I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it.
Big opportunities, yep.
Huge opportunities. And, we talk very candidly on and off camera about what my goals are. My goal is for a Liberal government, which is complemented by a very strong crossbench, because obviously the Liberal Party in the past has had leaders like Malcolm Turnbull. It helps to have a minor party crossbench to keep them on the beaten track.
It's important for anyone in life to have accountability. And, even let's say, for example, Joel, with regard to your own program here, right? It's important for you to have somebody that you trust, somebody who's going to behind the scenes, asking you the questions that need to be asked. I need it in my life as well. Everybody needs it. So whether it's Liberal, Labor or otherwise, you do need people who are prepared to hold them to account. Because we've seen, not just in Australia but around the world, when someone has too much power, especially for too long, the people who suffer are the individuals. And it's our individual freedoms that are undermined as a result of it. So, I mean, your aspiration is not just noble, but very important.
Yeah. No, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I see that there's a lot of good people out there. You meet them every day, and they just don't yet understand how the political process is done, and that's why I think these conversations are so critical. Nick, I reckon we could have gone for another hour, but it is a relatively short trip that you're here, and I pray that you can get everything done that you need to.
Appreciate
it. But you are welcome on anytime, virtually or in person, preferably in person.
Yep.
But next time you're here, I hope to have a full panel here, another 2 or 3 people here as well, so we can break some more stories up.
Yep.
But we will chat ahead of the election again, probably early next year.
Thanks very much for having me on. It's been great to visit the Ark.
No, my pleasure. And if people want to follow you, I am going to put the link to your email subscription in the description. If people want to see your weekly emails that you send out, updating them about
every Friday, 6:15, of course, 6:15 Western Australian time.
Yeah.
People, they can set their alarm for it.
Yeah, big list. You got more emails than I do. Very well done.
96,000 and going. So
96,000.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yep.
That's nuts. That's actually crazy. Well, Nick, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks, Joel.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for the Ark episode 22. I will see you later this week. I have a podcast on Thursday, a live of talking about cryptocurrencies, which I'm really looking forward to again with our friends at Stormrake. But without further ado, I'll see you guys later. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that particular clip. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video, get it out there. We've got to break the echo chamber. But also, if you're trying to get a hold of me a little bit more directly, I have actually a whole membership group of people on Buy Me a Coffee. It's kind of a overrated eyebrow club that I've formed. You guys know how much I love eyebrows. If you click the link in my description or if you click the link in my bio, you will actually see a link to join the Buy Me a Coffee family that I'm building. I want to be able to share more with you guys as to what are my plans ahead of the election, what are my raw and uncensored predictions for the elections and the various bills going through the parliaments. But also, I want to hear from you guys. What are the big tools that you want to see to help you meander through the craziness that will be 2025. And what advice do you have for me? What do you think the biggest issues are? Some of the best projects I've come up with have been from your ideas. The how to vote cards, the LGBT book registry, the reparations calculator. These are all things that you guys, from chatting with you, have inspired in me to form and make. I just happen to have the means to do it. But I want to actually, be walking around with both eyes open as to what's going on in this country. And the best way to do that is through you. It's through family. And I think that's why they try to destroy the family unit in this country. If you want to join the club, click the link in my description, click the link in my bio, join the family. There's 3 different eyebrow tiers, bronze, silver, and gold. You don't have to go for the gold one. The bronze one is really good. We're going to be chatting monthly on a Zoom together. We're going to be chatting about what's going on in this country, and I'm going to be able to hear about what's going on in your lives, what you guys need, and where you see things going. And I can be a little bit more raw with you and let's just say swear a little bit more, which I really want to do. I'll see you guys later. God bless you. Thank you again for your support, and I'll see you in 2025.